What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous, most toxic black man on the internet, and I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. And speaking of toxic black men and being dangerous black men, that's the subject of this video because the image of a strong, masculine black man is extremely dangerous to a lot of people out there, and they don't want to do anything to edify or to immortalize that vision on film. All right. So I'm going to be talking about a lot of comic book stuff and comic book movie production. So I can understand if some people are not into that, they might want to just kind of tune out. I no no hard stance taken. I'm not taking any offense to that. If you want to, kind of click off of this one, go right ahead. But I'm just letting you know that the main theme of what I'm talking about is about the black man and his image on screen. Okay. So, first off, just let me start with this part of it. And it is the new Blade movie that Disney slash Marvel Cinematic Universe was trying to make a new Blade movie and have that as one of the new flagship characters in their stable of Marvel characters and Marvel movies. But right now, the production on this new Blade film has been halted. Okay, so it started out with a few weeks ago, the actor who's going to play the new version of Blade, Marshall Ali, was saying that he read the script for the new Blade movie and it just sounded horrible. It didn't sound like anything he would want to be in. One of the things he had a problem with was it almost felt like within this very first new Blade movie within the MCU, they had Blade training some young female character. Basically, is almost seeming like he's almost going to be training someone to take his place. You see what I'm saying? And for me, I saw the writing on the wall. I don't know if Marshall Ali wanted to say this out loud or what, but that was a problem. And the studio itself and the director decided to just jump off, get off the production. The studio is having all types of problems with this film, from what I understand, thanks to the brother Sean James, who also had did some commentary about this, that also in the script there wasn't much action. There were maybe like 2 action sequences in the whole movie. And, when you're writing something that is not only a superhero film, but also like superhero slash horror, you want some more action in there, right? But whoever wrote the script didn't know what they were doing. I think they hired some young female writer who was, probably trying to put a bunch of her nonsense into it as well. Some of her feminist talking points and whatnot that she learned in college. She threw that into the film and just made it a bunch of nonsense, right? So the script is not good. And the movie was supposed to come out next November, but they've moved it all the way to 2024. Okay. So, in my opinion, based on what I've seen through this whole mess and this debacle of what's going on with the Blade film, is they do not want to present another strong black male hero within the Marvel universe. Okay. So they really don't want any black males in there, period. But if they do have them in there, they either got to be subservient or they have to be a sidekick or they got to be homosexual in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Now, if Blade was gay, now that would be no problem. He'd have had 10 movies made by now. Same thing with Black Panther. If Black Panther was a gay character, they'd have made sure they found a new Black Panther and to play the character and put him in there. Okay, and this is very, in my opinion, it's very obvious to see this, that they don't want to have another strong black male character, because I recently rewatched the original Blade movie that was done with Wesley Snipes from 1998. And let me explain something to a lot of folks out there, because I've noticed a lot of confusion and a lot of people don't really understand what's going on. The original Blade film was made back in 1998. This was before there ever was a Marvel Studios. Yes, Blade is a Marvel Comics character, but there was no connected universe back then. It was just a single solo movie about Blade that was made back then. And it was made by Wesley Snipes' company called Amun Ra. And when Wesley Snipes made that movie, it was a vehicle for himself. And he put a lot of himself into the character. If you go rewatch the movie, you can see a lot of him, his own characteristics in the character of Blade. He is Blade. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of hard to see someone else playing that character because he put so much of himself in there. Also, I know a lot of people are confused by this because Wesley Snipes does have is married to a woman outside of his race, but Wesley Snipes is actually conscious. He knows better than to even be doing stuff like that, but he knows enough. He has enough knowledge of self that he tries to put it in his own film productions. That's why when he made Amun Ra, that's why he called it the Amun Ra Film Company. And if you watch the very first Blade movie, there is a lot of pro-black messaging in that film. I know it's a horror film. I know it's rated R, it's bloody, but there's pro-black knowledge within that film. The fact that the main character is all-powerful and the white vampires want to be like him because he is a vampire who can walk in the sunlight. And he has all their powers and none of their weaknesses. They say that. I remember them saying that in the trailer. So that line was very important to the film itself. And if you go rewatch the film, okay, even when Blade is on kind of like his last leg and he had his blood drained from him so these white vampires can become godlike, who saves him? It was a black woman who saves him. And in order for him to defeat the other vampires, he had to take blood from the black woman. He had to take life and sustenance from a dark-skinned black woman. That was the only one who can save him and empower him to defeat the bad guys at the end. So there's a lot of symbolism in that movie. And a lot of people miss it because, like I said, it's an action movie. It's a horror movie. But if you want to watch a great movie that is extremely pro-black, go rewatch that movie. Okay? It's very well done. And the reason Wesley Snipes was able to do that because it was his own production company, and it was almost kind of like an independent film. Like, before that, the Blade character was not that popular within Marvel Comics, but he made that character something, okay? And I always thought that was a smart move. Like, if I always used to say if I was going to do a Marvel comic character or make a movie about a Marvel comic character, I would pick one of the obscure ones and do that, because then you could just do whatever you want. They're not going to let you do whatever you want with Spider-Man and the Hulk, but if you grab a way obscure character like Blade, which is what Wesley Snipes did, he was able to do what he wanted with that character. And like I said, it had a lot of pro-black messages in it. Go rewatch the film if you think I'm lying, all right? But yeah, and what was very interesting about that whole situation was originally, before he did the Blade movie, Wesley Snipes wanted to do a Black Panther movie. I remember reading about it in trade magazines back then. There was no internet. You had to read about movie productions in trade magazines and whatnot. And he was trying to get the rights to Black Panther. He wanted to do that first, but they couldn't. He couldn't secure the rights, so he got Blade instead. And 5 years later, he was able to do it in the late 90s. Okay, so going on, speaking of Black Panther, this new movie is coming out, and in my opinion, there's a lot of chicanery going on with that movie. I will post a link to a very good video that I saw by some other brothers who are comic book fans who reported early on that it was always Marvel's plan to replace Chadwick Boseman as the Black Panther. And what I mean by that is they were going to have him pass this mantle on to his little sister Shuri. Okay, they were quick to want to get rid of him and have a female be the lead in that movie series, and had just a bunch of females and whatnot. Just a Black Panther female and what I like to call the Dora Buldaggery as the heroes of the film. Okay, because having a strong black male lead is way too much for these movies. They don't like to see that. And the truth of the matter is, Marvel, they were not expecting for Black Panther 1 to be the success that it was. They thought it was just going to be put it out there and people were going to just look by it. You saw that's basically what happened to that Shang-Chi movie, right? When they introduced their first Asian hero. Uh, Same thing with Captain Marvel, their first big female superhero. People just kind of watched that and kind of moved on. But with Black Panther, that was a movement, and it was made that way because of black people. Never underestimate the power that you have, black people, with your dollar, with your energy, and with what you put your minds to. Okay? It was black people that made that movie successful, and Marvel was not expecting for that to happen. That's why there was such a big gap between producing the next Black Panther movie. They had no plans of doing that. And even so, what little plans they had, they were going to replace Chadwick Boseman. And from what I understand, based on what his family says, he was actually upset about that. Before he passed away, he had said that, why would you do this? Like, have me in this movie and have me represent this great character and then take me out of it. I haven't had a chance to even really get my, put even more of myself into this character. Why would you take me out of it? But when he passed away from cancer, it really just kind of took him out. That was Marvel's like excuse to say, okay, now we don't have to have another black male character. We don't have to have this black male in this movie because he's dead and he's quote unquote our Black Panther. And the brothers that did that video, they brought this up that was almost kind of a trick of the movie industry on black people saying, hey, because this brother was so great, they're giving him false praise saying because he was so great, no one else can play this character anymore. We're going to retire the character, basically. You see what I'm saying? Now, with Superman, how many actors have played Superman over the years? How many actors have played Batman just within the last 10, 15 years? Think about that. There have been several people just played Batman in the last few years. Same thing with Spider-Man. How many actors have played Spider-Man just in the last few years? Hell, they had them all in one movie. Just the last Spider-Man movie had all 3 actors from the Spider-Man movies all in one movie. But we can't have another Black Panther. Nope, there's no other black male actors who can play him. You see what I'm saying? They do this stuff on purpose because they do not want to see that. They do not want to present that out there of a strong black man in any type of movie role that is something that black people can look up to. Like I said, they were not expecting it to be the success that it was, and having little black boys and little black children look up to this black male actor. And Chadwick Boseman was a great actor in that he didn't just go like, do the movie role and that was it. He used to go to like hospitals and visit other kids who had cancer and whatnot, and show up for Make-A-Wish and everything like that. So he was a statesman for just the character. He knew how big it was, how much it represented to young children out there. And he tried to present himself in a good way so that children would have something to look up to. Okay? But, Marvel understands that great image of a black man, it threatens them in the long run because they don't want you to see a black man in that light. He's always got to be secondary and a sidekick. Black Panther TChalla was a king. He was secondary to no one. They can't have stuff like that. Blade was a vampire hunter and didn't take shit from anybody. You can even see like in the first 2 Blade movies how he's talking trash to other vampires. Like in the second movie, like how he smacks these white vampires around and shows how he's the boss within the first 5 seconds of meeting them. You see what I'm saying? You can't have that in a movie. All right, white people don't like that. No matter how much they say they do, they really don't like that. They don't like seeing a black man in charge like that. All right, they're trying to keep that out of anyone's eyes and keep that power of the black man suppressed. So you folks, let me know how you feel about it in the comment section. I very much like to hear from you. If you're a comic book fan, let me know in the comment section. And if you understand what I'm talking about as far as I wanted to suppress the power of the black man, go ahead and let me know in the comments. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on these devils' back.